Choosing a desktop audio workstation, or DAW, is one of the most important steps in your music production journey. That's because a DAW is going to define the way in which you work. What is a DAW, or D.A.W? Basically, a DAW is the engine room of your music production studio. If there is magic to be had, this is where it's gonna happen. A desktop audio workstation is a piece of software which integrates all of your instruments into a sequencer and allows you to record, arrange, mix, and master music tracks. A DAW allows for non-linear editing of music, providing you with endless creative options. So how important is a DAW? Well, it's very important. This is the main software that you are going to be interfacing with to create music. It is going to be the hub of your music production. Therefore, you should not neglect investing some time into finding the best DAW for you. Once you've purchased a DAW, you should also invest some serious time into learning how to use it. But before we get into discussing the individual DAWs, let's look at some major factors to consider when choosing a DAW. Firstly is the user interface. This determines the speed and enjoyability of your workflow. An easy-to-use, logical UI will make creating music more pleasant and quick. A tool with a difficult user interface may cause you to be put off making music. Second is workflow speed. In addition to the user interface, other factors will help give you a fast workflow. These include 1. Good editing tools. 2. A compact, full-feature mixer which does not require you to scroll up and down or flip windows. 3. An efficient code with low latency and CPU usage. And 4. Good keyboard shortcuts. Free versus paid products. Free DAWs will enable you to get your foot in the door and learn the basics of music production. However, they simply are not as good as paid DAWs. If you are serious about making music, bypass free DAWs and commit to paying for a good quality DAW which fits your preferences. Full versions versus limited versions. Most companies provide a limited time demo version of their software. When you have narrowed down your selection to a couple of DAWs, download the demos for these and use them for a few weeks or a month so that you can make your final choice. Some DAWs like Ableton Live and Cubase have different editions which provide a progression of features. You need to decide what features you need. One piece of advice though is that purchasing a product with all of the features generally comes with no regrets. However, in saying this, these companies generally provide a way to upgrade from one edition to another. Availability of learning resources. You shouldn't underestimate this one. You will find that as you are producing music in your DAW, you will frequently have questions about how to perform a certain task. Being able to quickly go onto Google or YouTube and find out how to use the tool is immensely helpful. Some well-known and popular DAWs have a very large number of learning resources online, while some of the newer or less popular options do not have a wide range of such resources. Pricing. You are going to need to consider your budget. If you don't have much to spend, then your options are going to be limited. But if you are serious about your music, then you will get whichever DAW suits you the best, regardless of the cost. Procrastination. Don't allow yourself to be overwhelmed by analysis paralysis. At the end of the day, you want to produce music, and in order to do so, you need a DAW. So try to place a time limit on your research and purchase the workstation of your choice as soon as you have made the decision. On to talking about the DAWs. And no, I'm not talking about the 1960s rock band that changed the face of music forever. Let's have a look at the DAWs. Let's have a look at the 8 best DAWs on the market in no particular order. Coco's Reaper is available for PC, Mac and Linux. Its features are great value for money. It's only $60 for a personal license, but in fact you can actually get it technically for free. However, I would recommend pay Coco's, they deserve the money. Sophisticated MIDI and audio routing capabilities with multi-channel support. It's very storage space efficient at just 66 megabytes. It's extremely customizable, has good notation editing, usable for video scoring, has some very good stock plugins. It also has extensive plugin support, including VST, VST3, AU, DX and JS. It's got automation, grouping, modulation, surround, VCA, macros, OSC, scripting, control surfaces, custom skins and layouts. What's the workflow like? Well, it's a mixed bag as the user must set up their own toolbars, menus and macros. However, once this is done, the workflow will be customized to your needs. Overall, the workflow is a bit slow as compared to other mainstream DAWs. What are some of the cons? Well, there's not a lot of plugins. It's not overly intuitive. It requires a significant amount of work to set up to your particular specifications. Who is it best for? Well, I would recommend Coco's Reaper for those with experience using DAWs. People with patience who don't mind customizing the software to their specific needs. The next on the list is Apple Logic Pro. It's available for Mac only. Some of the features are it has good value for money, it's $200. There's a solid workflow, there's lots of content. It's recently been overhauled with an Ableton style songwriting workflow, has a new step sequencer, overhauled samplers and other tools. The Flex tool is excellent. It's one of the most versatile workstations. There is a massive collection of plugins, instruments and sounds. Its intuitive user interface makes it a very easy software to work with. Logic Pro library has 21 software instruments, 2,767 patches and 5,649 loops and 9 MIDI plugins. Logic Pro X features 66 state-of-the-art plugins. You can add third-party plugins via the AU Apple format as well. There's a large number of online learning resources and they have good customer support. So what about the workflow? Well, it's an easy to use interface. There's drag and drop functionality, but many of the keyboard shortcuts require 2 or 3 key combinations. What about the cons? Well, it's a pretty good piece of software. The biggest con is that it is for Mac users only. Who is it best for? Well, Apple users, obviously, preferably for MIDI and VST recording. The third piece of software on our list is ImageLine FL Studio. It's available for Mac and Windows. What are some of the features? It's excellent for EDM producers. It's great value for money, with editions ranging from $99 through to $500. One of its biggest selling points is its free lifetime updates. Once you buy the product, you get all future updates for free. That's pretty hard to beat. And that's a model I wish other software companies would follow. The latest version software features a new soft synth, performance upgrades, and tools for making social media oriented music videos. It's known for having an excellent piano roll editor. The full version has over 80 plugins, and a lot of them are very good quality. It's fairly easy to use. There's a large range of online learning resources. The multi-touch interface allows the product to be used with an iPad. What's the workflow like? Well, Fruity Loops, as it was originally called, is designed to quickly create short loops and arrange them on the playlist to make your song. You can add anything in a channel rack such as beats, instruments, synths, and a mixture of instruments to make a complete song. You can add the same channel rack sequence to different tracks and different channel rack sequences to the same tracks as well. You need to think about working in chunks or parts in FL Studio rather than in notes like you would in other DAWs. What are some of the cons? Well, the interface can get a little cluttered. Windows on top of windows. It has a different workflow from other DAWs, which can provide a steep learning curve. Who is it best for? EDM producers, hip-hop, rap, and DJ music producers. The next piece of software on our list is Ableton Live. It's available for Mac and Windows. What are some of the features? It's a fast, compact, amazingly efficient workflow, all on one screen. Great built-in devices, a great comping system, MPE support, designed to mix music in live performances. One of the best loop arrangers in the world, a ridiculous amount of sounds, effects, and instruments, at least in the Suite version, and possibly the biggest range of online learning resources for any DAW. Max for Live provides near unlimited potential to create and share instrument and effect plugins. The browser library provides an efficient way to find your sounds and presets. Ableton Live's session and arrangement views provide you with flexibility for songwriting, mixing, arranging, and playing live. Warping. This feature allows you to automatically match the tempo of imported audio with the project tempo. It has an easy-to-use interface. It has low CPU usage. Ableton Live is a lightweight software as compared to some other big audio digital workstations, although if you are using a lot of VST instruments, they will chew through your CPU. What about the workflow? Well, it's extremely fast and efficient. How about the cons? Plug-in delay compensation is an issue for some of the effects. Who is it best for? Well, stage performers, DJs, producers of any kind of music, but especially electronic. The next DAW on our list is Steinberg Cubase. It's available for Mac and Windows. What are its features? Well, it's one of the original DAWs. It has a refined workflow. It's got a good balance of features on each of the three versions. Cubase 11 has great plugins, an extensive sound library, and good functionality. There are loads of high-end audio and MIDI VST effect processors. Many of its chord features are great for composing music. Chord tracks, chord pads, advanced score editor, note expression, arranger track, chord assistant. Sequencing features, it's got a key editor, drum editor, logical editor, MPE support, chord editor, list editor, drum map, in-place editing, quick controls, and a tempo detection panel. What's the workflow like? It is a bit slow to use unless you have experience and good understanding of the shortcuts. What about some of the cons of Cubase? Well, it's got a traditional design which may not have moved with times. The user interface can be a bit confusing for beginners. Coming in at just over $700 for the full version, Cubase is one of the more pricey options. And who is it best for? Well, it's good for audio recording and traditional editing. Next we have Avid Pro Tools, which is available for Mac and Windows. What are some of its features? Well, it is the industry standard for recording studios. Its somewhat outdated workflow has been updated recently. It uses cloud-based storage and collaboration, has seamless and streamlined routing. It is important to have knowledge of this if you want to work in a professional recording studio. Features like compilation to master recording and playlist grouping provide easy access to multiple tracks for one project. It's an ideal software for film scoring, where hundreds of tracks are used. Pro Tools is equipped with a 2 gig loop library, over 60 virtual instruments and thousands of sounds. It's got lots of plugins and effects, supports 60 plus plugins and also access to 17 plus bonus plugins. However, it only supports the AAX format. What about workflow? Well, it's fast if you're familiar with the product, but it has a steep learning curve. And some of the cons: it is best suited to linear recording. It's not designed for novices. It has reportedly got poor customer support. It hasn't kept up with many of the other DAWs on the market. And it uses a subscription-based model. Who is it best for? Music industry professionals. The next DAW on our list is PreSonus Studio One. It's available for Mac and Windows. Some of its features are that it is a good all-round performer. It has a solid workflow, it's stable, it's modern. Chord Track lets you reharmonize parts. Version 5 features a score editor and clinically accurate clip gain envelopes. It has AAF format support for easy file exchange with other mainstream DAWs. It comes with Melodyne Essential 4 editor. What's the workflow like? Well, the interface is standard, probably most similar to Logic Pro. It's fast if you know what you're doing, but has a steep learning curve and may require you to have a lot of open window management. You're probably going to need a multi-screen setup for this one. Cons: a very busy interface which can be overwhelming. And to get all of the features, you must have a subscription. The demo version is pretty limited and will not give you a good idea of the software. Who is it best for? It's great for sequencing. The last DAW on our list is Bitwig Studio. Bitwig is a relatively new player to the DAW market, but entered with a bang. Even though it is pretty new, it was better on launch than a lot of existing DAWs that have been around for many years that didn't even make this list. It was made by people who used to work for Ableton, so has a look and feel which is remarkably similar to Ableton Live. It's available for PC, Mac and Linux. Some of the features: it has a modular environment. There's an easy transition for Ableton users. It's got innovative features, clever modulation functions, has had significant regular updates since its release, and it's relatively cheap at $300 US. What's the workflow like? Well, as a product made by ex-Ableton employees, which is, let's face it, a bit of an Ableton clone, the workflow is pretty similar to Ableton Live. That's going to make it fast, compact, and efficient. Some of the cons: it lives in the shadow of Ableton Live. It's not yet a fully developed product, still has some room for improvement. Who is it best for? It's great for people who are familiar with Ableton Live but want something different, and those who want to try a DAW that is on the cutting edge. So with all that said, which DAW should you choose? Well, I can't really answer that question for you. By and large, it comes down to individual preference. When you hunt around the internet, you're going to find people who are fanboys of particular products, including ones that aren't even on this list. Don't be swayed by them. You're better off finding a neutral evaluation like this one than testing out the top 2 or 3 DAWs that appeal to you. Now, I can already preempt one of the questions that you're going to ask. Jason, which DAW do you use? Well, I did some intensive research into the DAWs available, as you can tell from this video. It was not an easy decision after already having used my original DAW, which didn't make this list, for almost 20 years. I downloaded some demos to try them out, but I eventually settled on Ableton Live because I like the workflow and it's an extremely powerful tool which is brilliant for what I want to do. Does that mean that it's right for you? Not necessarily. It's a personal choice that you're going to have to live with for a long time. So do the research, spend some time with the tools, and then make your decision. I hope that you found this video useful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel for more educational and entertaining content. See you next time.